Mr. Speaker, today I rise to provide a policing update for Cup Match 2018. Mr. Speaker, this Honorable House and the public will be aware that I have been working closely with the leadership of the Bermuda Police Service to keep Bermuda safe. Mr. Speaker, over the past week, I have met on 3 occasions with the new Police Commissioner, Mr. Stephen Corbishley, and I'm encouraged by our discussions, deliberations, and strategizing. Mr. Speaker, I must remind the House that operational policing remains the purview of the Governor. Mr. Speaker, over the Cup Match weekend, there were a total of 48 arrests. 11 were for driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. 1 for driving when alcohol concentration was over the prescribed limit and failing to comply with a demand for a breath test. 1 arrest for having care and control of a motor vehicle whilst impaired. 1 arrest for a fray. 3 arrests for assaults occasioning bodily harm. 1 arrest for breach of bail conditions. 1 arrest for conduct conducive to the breach of peace. 1 arrest for being drunk and incapable. 1 arrest for having custody of counterfeit currency notes. 1 arrest for possession of a controlled drug. 1 arrest for taking a conveyance without consent, that is, driving a car without permission, Mr. Speaker. 1 arrest for theft of less than $1,000. 2 arrests for theft of a vehicle. 1 arrest for offensive and threatening, abusive, or insulting words, gestures, or behavior, and violently resisting arrest. 4 arrests for breaching the peace, and 17 arrests for warrants. 41 of the people arrested were males, and 7 were female. Mr. Speaker, over the Cup Match weekend, the Bermuda Police Service used overnight watches with up to 50 police officers above standard levels to deal with the increase of illegal and antisocial behaviors. In total, there were approximately 150 police officers deployed throughout the weekend. The men and women of the Bermuda Police Services were bolstered by the Reserve, Constabulary, and by members of the Bermuda Regiment. Mr. Speaker, there were up to 50 officers per day at the Cup Match grounds, with the command center at the field this year for the first time being monitored by CCTV cameras around the grounds at the Somerset Cricket Club. The cameras were monitored by the Bermuda Police Service and by the private security personnel. Mr. Speaker, the security cameras were provided by the private security firm. For the first time, this firm provided the private security and CCTV cameras at the St. George's Cricket grounds. Mr. Speaker, of the St. George's, pardon me, Mr. Speaker, thank you, ma'am, of the Somerset Cricket Club. Mr. Speaker, the country can be rest assured that the government will continue to work with the Bermuda Police Service to keep Bermuda safe by reducing crime and antisocial behavior. Mr. Speaker, whilst there was success from the Bermuda Police Service with reference to a well-executed Cup Match policing strategy, the general public should be also saluted for adhering to the law and for supporting the Bermuda Police Service. Mr. Speaker, there was an incident at Paradise Lakes, which is being investigated by the Bermuda Police Service. It involved the stabbing and injuring of 2 people who were later released from hospital. There were a number of events involving large crowds of people having fun that occurred without incident. The list of events include, but are not limited to, Cup Match itself, 2 major concerts, Beach Fest, a raft up in St. George's, and at the Non-Mariners in Somerset. At these events where hundreds of Bermudians, including boats, were present. Mr. Speaker, considering the amount of people, there were very few incidents. We must thank our emergency service personnel. We see them as our first responders. When there is an incident, but we forget that they are on duty, away from family and away from friends during these holidays when most of us rest and are having fun. They are on duty at all manner of unsociable hours to protect and to serve the people of Bermuda. They include, but again are not limited to, the people at the hospital, our firemen, the people responsible for maritime safety, and members of the Bermuda Regiment, and many others. Mr. Speakers, I was the beneficiary this weekend of the Royal Bermuda Regiment and the Bermuda Police Service in a joint maritime policing deployment when they rescued my brothers and I in the Boston whaler that was traveling that encountered engine failure. Mr. Speaker, in closing, even when factoring in the incident at Paradise Lakes, the Cup Match holiday was relatively safe. There is still an opportunity for the Bermuda Police Service to learn and grow from last week's events. The government will continue to work with the Bermuda Police Service to ensure that they remain fit for purpose and that Bermuda is a safe place for all. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.